Welcome to Ecclesia number 20. We're at the tail end of our mainnet, go to live mainnet. So we'll keep this AMA very short. I'll give you some update and answer your questions. Looks like there is only one question today, so it'll be a short call regarding the state of all the apps and all the issues regarding the mainnet. So without spending too much time on it, I just want to give you a little preamble of where we are with the active set. The most of the critical issues are completed, and I'll show you what is left. It's about basically there are two issues left. Most of the focus is now on testing. We're adding more testing processes in order to find any more bugs, because we want to be sure that all of these are taken care of before we go to active set. So once we go to active set, then the process would be to first of all, we are waiting right now for the active set. We are waiting for a couple of things. One is the servers. We are trying to distribute the servers to different providers. That way, we have geographic distribution as well as data center distribution, because we don't want all the servers in one data center or in a data center controlled by one company. So we have 5 or 6 data centers, and there's plenty of servers available. So that's something we're focusing on doing. And then, with the new data centers that we have, we are working with, it's taking a little bit longer to get the servers up and running. So we will delay the active set base. It will be delayed by about a week based on the timelines given by the data center providers. We could go to active set testing today, but this week will also, 1 week will also give us some time to do some additional testing prior to going to active set testing, because we don't want to spend too much time doing active set testing. Once we start the testing process, then it's between 2 to 3 weeks before we launch mainnet. At least that's the goal that we have, and I'll talk a little bit about the process and what we're gonna do in a bit. So that's on the active set, and in terms of the opportunities. It's a lot of opportunity. We have a lot of interest coming on the storage side, which we expected, and hopefully it will continue to happen as we get closer to mainnet and we start releasing the apps and going live. So let's go through a couple of things. Let me go through the issues. Let's see. Yeah, so let me go through the issues. Okay, you can see it. So there's about 30. Let me refresh the screen. Yeah, there's about 30 issues left. And most of them are not critical. They are related to tests, and some on the SDK side, like the create allocation for a different owner. These are issues that are on the client side, which is not as critical because we are freezing the code this week, and which means no new features are going to be added. Most of the issues are related to testing and optimization, and those things, like for instance in zero chain you have conductor testing. So these are all non-critical. Benchmark tests. So you will see a lot of issues here which we would like to complete before we go to mainnet. but they're all related to additional tests. So add system test, S3 migration. These are, I think this is also done. It's in progress. This is more testing in terms of how well the app is performing. You have coverage test for repair. These are again tests, cleanup, diagnostic pages to understand what is going on with the platform. So all of these are, most of them are test related. So if I do label critical, then there's about two, and they're actually most of it is actually, one of them is test related. The other one is Dex, which we're currently working on. So we expect these to be done this week. So all the critical stuff is expected to be done. And then what we are looking for is a clean Cypress run. So we know that all the web apps are working on our platform. So that's something we want to, close this week. And so next week we're essentially ready, but basically we're adding more tests. And that's all we're gonna do from now till Mainnet. We basically add more tests, and if we find bug, we fix them. And so we may do some update, but in terms of features, we are essentially freezing the code that we will release for active set testing. And then we may do one last release before we, which would be a code update. And we test it on active set. If it works, if everything is fine, then we use that release to go to mainnet. All right. So let's switch over to the spreadsheet. So as you can see, most of the items are crossed out. In terms of issues, we have increased in issues, but they're mostly now test related. So in terms of critical issues, there's about two, which we plan to finish this week. So we're more or less done with, and you could say we are feature-wise ready, and we're gonna do a code freeze. But in terms of tests, we are not there yet because we need to pass the active set testing in order to declare readiness. So the active set testing, the new date is August 3rd. We expect all the servers to be up and ready and available. Then we will deploy the contracts. These are the Ethereum contracts and Polygon contracts for NFT. We plan to deploy them by 10th. These are live contracts. So we want to test the active set with the live contracts and see if it's all working. If it's all working, then we will redeploy again, basically redo the same thing when we go mainnet. And we need to do that with the live contract on Ethereum and Polygon. So that's part of this testing. So it'll be most likely a 2-week exercise before we announce that, hey, we are mainnet ready. And then we do a countdown, and the countdown could be 5 days or 3 days. We haven't determined what would be the countdown, or it could be more. Okay, so that's kind of the process. In terms of the web, you're free to try out any of these apps. They should be all functional with the latest code update that we have done for the demo network. And all of the domain apps should point to the domain network. So all of this should be working. There are a few issues, UI, UX issues that we are finding. We're testing them daily now, so we expect to fix them very quickly. And so by next week, we should have covered all these 5. Chalk, there are a few changes that we made, so that is still in process. So it may be sometime early next week when we will be able to announce that, hey, it's released and you can try it out. In terms of the apps, we have submitted these apps to the store. There were some rejections because of payment issues or crypto or what have you, and those are been taken care of. We expect all of these to be ready for the apps to be released by August 1st. And then we will basically release them for you guys to test them out and see and get feedback. All right, so I think we talked about so a couple of things we want to talk about is that we need to verify the contracts, and that is in process. Where right now we are doing that. And the token flow, we have done the token flow. The only one thing that's left is a couple of tests that is still a work in progress. So we expect that to happen this week. So both of these should be completed by this week. In terms of active set, what we plan to do in the active set is kind of repeat this. So we will do a load test, we'll do a DDoS test, we'll do a Cypress test. And then what we want to do is obviously test all the apps. So all of these apps will be tested on active set. And we'll also do a controlled chaos. So we'll put some servers down to see how well it's working with some of the servers down. So we expect that to happen during the active set process, active set testing process. So this won't take too long because most of the tests are automated, and if they pass, they pass, right? So we do these tests, and then what we want to do is look at the rewards and tweak some configuration parameters, which are gonna be finalized during the active set, and that's because with the geo distribution of servers, there could be some differences that we see if you want to normalize them. Once we have normalized them, we make sure all the rewards are kind of distributed and so forth, and then we are pretty much ready to go to mainnet. So we expect within 7 days we should be able to do all of that, then deploy the contracts, do one more round of testing. That looks good, then we can be mainnet ready anytime between 3rd and 17th, basically, or anytime between 10th and 17th is when we will announce ourselves mainnet ready. Okay. In terms of the videos, we plan to we're done with Vault. We have done a long version, short version, and there's a super short version as well that's probably in the works. But we want to finish the other apps, so we expect that to be finished before August 7th. So that's our timeline. And then there's associated press releases with all the apps. So we will have all of this lined up, and we also have a lot of SEO stuff lined up on the marketing side. So all of that is gonna go into effect starting this week, and then kind of all through mainnet release. So the next 3-4 weeks. So it's going to be a lot of marketing information. In terms of other items that we need to complete before mainnet is split key. This feature, we hope to get it finished this week. It's an app that we need to develop for mobile as well as the web, where you can split the key between the mobile and the laptop. It's a feature that we have on Wi-Fi, but we want to convert that to Bluetooth so that it's a two-way communication, and it's a simpler process. It's also something that we want to highlight to our token holders. So that's something we want to complete by August 1st. And then and we also want to make sure that the Zero Box, which is our centralized server, that is highly available. So those are the two things that we need to do before we go to mainnet. And so that's something that will happen while we're doing the active set testing. All right, so I've gone through the schedule. There's one. What I want to do is look at if there's any question. I'll answer. So there's only one question, which is good. That means all the questions have been answered, and there are no new questions. What I would like to see is more. Yeah, what I like to see is you guys test the apps and ask questions on Discord because we want to see some activity on the channel and also some response from some feedback on all our apps. Again, I think we had some issues the last couple of weeks because we have been, deploying the network, redeploying the apps, doing Cypress testing, and so forth. But I expect all of those to be sorted out this week because we're now internally testing regularly so that so that we make sure that all of these apps work for you guys to test. So probably on Monday we should be all I would say 99% good with all the apps. Again, I cannot say 100% because every time there's a new tester, they find something that discovers something that others have not. So that's kind of the process, which is why we want to have more people test our apps. All right, so okay, so so what I want to talk about is one question from for the AMA is what are your thoughts, plans to integrate AI in the development process? For example, predictive maintenance. Um, this is something we will certainly incorporate Chat GPT in the process of converting people that land on our site for onboarding as a customer. In terms of if they land on our site, what are they looking for? If they're looking for storage, we guide them to Blimp. If they're looking for personal storage, we'll guide them to Vault, and so forth. Or they're looking to develop an app, then we will guide them to our SDK. So those are chat GPT processes that we will incorporate for customer acquisition. So that's the first step. Second, we want to do is we want to incorporate Chat GPT for all our apps so that we can provide a knowledge base and answer most of the questions. And if there are any other questions left, then we basically would answer them directly through DM or what have you on Discord. So that would be the second level of AI usage. In terms of development or predictive maintenance, we plan to do bi-weekly release for all the apps. So we will have a release schedule and then we will kind of do it methodically, either bi-weekly or monthly. Usually, if in startups, it's done on a bi-weekly basis. So that's something we will do. And these are essentially, most of the stuff will be around predictive maintenance or maintenance of the code. In terms of what new features we add, we will go through a standard business development process where we itemize what are the things that are necessary for the customers and we kind of prioritize them, and then we incorporate these features one by one. And this goes for Mainnet as well. So after the Mainnet is released, we will go through this process where we release code bi-weekly, and it's based on prioritization. What do we need to do first? Of course, after Mainnet, the first goal is to add more tests and optimize. But we're also gonna be cognizant of features that people want, which may want to incorporate. We have a lot of features on the mainnet today, So I don't anticipate there will be additional features that will be coming up anytime soon. But so the focus would be more tests, refactoring code for optimization, speeding things up, mostly on the storage side because that's where our value is. And then obviously on the blockchain side, we want to optimize the transactions on the smart contract. So those will be our main focus going post mainnet. So maybe in the next meeting that we have in 2 weeks, we will we will have active set ongoing. So next week we want to start the active set, and we want to have a and most of the active set testing would be done by the next AMA, so I can give you some results on where we are, and hopefully we can also settle on a launch date for the next AMA, because right now our code looks good, our tests look good, so everything looks like a go, but we are making sure all the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted. So you just want to make sure everything is all good before we start active set testing, because once that testing starts, it's pretty much a go mainnet mode. So we don't want to wait after active set and then go to mainnet. We want to make sure that we are ready to go to mainnet, and that's why we are going to commence the active set testing, and then it's a natural process that we go to mainnet. All right, so that's all I have for today. It's a short call, short update, but looking forward to give you a mainnet date on the next AMA. All right, so have a great rest of the week and rest of the month. Look forward to August.